For the first time since the birth of creation, silence fell across the realm of the gods. Not the peaceful kind, not the meditative stillness that preceded great battles or the calm before storms. This was different. This was the silence that comes when even existence itself holds its breath. The Grand Priest stood motionless in the throne chamber of Zeno, his eyes narrowed with an emotion he had not felt in eons: unease. Around him, the 12 universes pulsed with irregular light, flickering like dying stars. Time itself seemed to stutter, glitching in ways that defied even his understanding. And at the center of it all sat the Omni King. Zeno, the childlike god who could erase entire universes with a playful gesture, sat unusually still. His small eyes, normally filled with innocent curiosity, now stared into nothing. His small hands gripped the armrests of his cosmic throne, knuckles somehow tense despite his cartoonish appearance. Grand Priest. Zeno's voice was barely a whisper, lacking its usual cheerful energy. Something is wrong. The Grand Priest bowed slightly. My lord, I have noticed the disturbances as well. Reality itself seems to be unraveling. It's not unraveling, Zeno said quietly, his gaze distant. It's being questioned. Questioned, my lord? My power erases, Zeno continued, still staring ahead. I can erase anything from existence, universes, gods, even timelines. But he paused, and for the first time in his eternal life, the Omni King's voice trembled. I cannot protect what remains. I cannot create meaning where I have destroyed it. And now something is coming, something that makes my erasure seem pointless. The Grand Priest felt a chill run through his being. If the Omni King himself felt inadequate, then what force could possibly be approaching? Across the multiverse, phenomena defied explanation. In Universe 7, mortals reported seeing their own pasts and futures simultaneously. In Universe 11, even the Pride Troopers found themselves frozen mid-motion, trapped in temporal loops. Gods of destruction woke from sleep trembling, unable to remember why they were afraid. Creation itself was destabilizing. Zeno finally turned to face the Grand Priest, and in his eyes was something no one had ever seen before. Fear. Bring me Son Goku, the Omni King commanded. Goku sat alone on a mountaintop in Universe 7, his legs crossed in meditation. No explosive aura surrounded him, no earth-shattering energy shook the ground. He was simply still. Whis appeared beside him in a flash of light, his staff glowing softly. Goku-san, the Omni King has summoned you. Goku didn't open his eyes immediately. When he finally did, there was something different about him. The eager spark that usually lit up his face when powerful beings called for him, it wasn't there. Instead, there was a calm depth, a maturity that seemed to settle over him like wisdom finally catching up to power. The Omni King, huh? Goku stood slowly, brushing dust from his gi. Must be serious if Zeno himself is asking. Indeed, Whis replied, studying Goku carefully. You seem different lately, less enthusiastic about the prospect of strong opponents. Goku looked out over the landscape below, the wind catching his wild hair. I've been thinking a lot, Whis, about everything. Every battle, every transformation, every time I pushed past my limits. He paused. If strength alone could save everything, it would have already happened. Within moments, they stood before the Omni King's throne. Zeno sat forward, his usual playful demeanor completely absent. Goku! Zeno's voice was barely a whisper, lacking its usual cheerful energy. You came. The Grand Priest stepped forward. Son Goku, the multiverse faces a threat beyond our comprehension. The Omni King has decided to offer you a position of unprecedented authority, the title of Omni Guardian. You would possess the power to protect all of existence, to stand beside the throne as absolute protector of everything that is. The other angels present gasped. Such an offer had never been made to a mortal. Goku stood quietly for a moment, processing the weight of what was being offered. Unlimited power, authority over gods, the ability to protect everyone he loved, forever.
I can't accept that, Goku said finally. The silence that followed was deafening. What? Zeno blinked in confusion. But Goku, you'd be the strongest. You could protect everyone. Goku met the Omni King's eyes with a gentle but firm gaze. That's exactly why I can't accept it, Zeno. Power like that, it changes people. It makes you forget what you're protecting in the first place. I've seen it happen. I've almost let it happen to me. But besides, Goku continued, his voice steady. Real protection doesn't come from having the biggest power. It comes from understanding responsibility, from knowing when to fight and when to hold back, from remembering that every life, no matter how small, matters just as much as the big ones. The Grand Priest's eyes widened slightly. This was not the same Saiyan who had stumbled into the Tournament of Power years ago, hungry only for the next challenge. Zeno looked down at his small hands, then back at Goku. Then, what do I do? Before Goku could answer, the entire throne room shuddered. Reality cracked like glass. The very air seemed to peel away in strips, revealing something beneath, or perhaps beyond existence itself. It wasn't darkness. It wasn't void. It was something worse. It was absence. The absence of purpose. The absence of meaning, the absence of the reason why anything should exist at all. A presence filled the room, though nothing visible appeared. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere and nowhere, echoing inside thoughts rather than through the air. I am the null will. Every being in the chamber felt it, a crushing weight of nihilistic understanding. This wasn't a god. This wasn't a demon or monster. This was something that existed before concepts like good and evil had any meaning. I do not hate. I do not rage. I simply am the end of questions. Gods erase universes. Destroyers bring balance through annihilation. But the present seemed to press down harder. I erase purpose itself. Goku's fists clenched, but he didn't power up. He could sense that this enemy was different from anything he'd ever faced. Why are you here? Goku asked. Because existence asks why without end. Every life questions, every being seeks meaning. This endless searching creates instability. I have come to end the questioning, to bring absolute certainty through the removal of choice. The Grand Priest stepped back. Even the Omni King cannot erase something that exists as a concept rather than a being. Correct, the null will acknowledged. You can erase what is, but can you erase what is not? Can you destroy the absence of meaning? Can you fight against the void where questions go to die? Zeno stood from his throne, his small form trembling with power. I'll erase you anyway. I'm the Omni King. Zeno, wait! Goku reached out, but it was too late. Blue-white energy exploded from Zeno's hands, the kind of power that had erased entire universes in the Tournament of Power. The erasure wave that could unmake anything and everything surged toward the presence of the null will. For a moment, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the energy simply stopped. It didn't dissipate, it didn't reverse. It stopped having meaning. The purpose behind the erasure was removed, leaving only raw power with no direction, no function, no reason to exist. And that directionless power turned back. "No!" the Grand Priest shouted, raising barriers of divine energy. The other angels joined him, creating layers of protection around the throne room. But the backlash wasn't physical, it was existential. Zeno stumbled backward, clutching his head. His omnipotent aura flickered like a candle in wind. For the first time in the history of all creation, the Omni King fell to his knees.
I can't. Zeno's voice was weak, confused. What's happening to me? Goku rushed to his side, catching the small god before he collapsed completely. Zeno! The null will's presence pulsed with something that might have been satisfaction. You see, even the power to erase everything means nothing when the concept of everything loses purpose. You are not weak, Omni King. You are simply irrelevant. Zeno's eyes were losing focus, his grip on consciousness fading. He looked up at Goku, and in those childlike eyes was something ancient and afraid. Son Goku? Zeno whispered, his voice barely audible. You were right to refuse. Power without understanding. His small hand gripped Goku's ji weakly. Stand where I cannot, not as Omni Guardian, but as something more. The Omni King's eyes closed, and he went limp in Goku's arms. The Grand Priest knelt beside them, his normally composed face showing raw emotion. My lord still lives, but his authority, it's fractured. Reality itself is rejecting the concept of absolute power. Goku laid Zeno down gently, then stood to face the invisible presence that filled the room. You say you want to end all questioning, but I've learned something. Questions aren't the problem. Giving up on finding answers, that's what really destroys everything. Then you will fail as he did. You cannot fight what cannot be defined. Goku's eyes hardened. Watch me. Goku walked away from the throne room, ignoring the calls of the angels and the concerned looks of the gods. He needed space. He needed to understand. He found himself in a place beyond space, the realm that existed in the gaps between thoughts, where even ultra instinct seemed like a crude tool. This was the space where creation and destruction lost meaning, where only pure existence remained. And there, in that impossible place, he wasn't alone. Echoes surrounded him, not ghosts, but impressions left behind by every soul that had ever questioned their purpose. Mortals from erased universes, gods who had fallen, even glimpses of destroyers who had grown tired of their endless duty. One echo stepped forward, a Saiyan Goku didn't recognize, wearing armor from an ancient era. You carry our question. Why do we fight? Why do we live? Why does any of it matter when it can all be erased? I used to think the answer was getting stronger, but that's not enough, is it? No, another voice joined in, this one belonging to a mortal from Universe 10, erased by Zeno's hand years ago. Strength without connection becomes tyranny. Power without purpose becomes destruction for its own sake. More voices joined, creating a chorus of understanding that resonated through Goku's very soul. You've touched something we all sought, a third voice said, this one belonging to a god of destruction from a timeline that no longer existed. You fought not just with your body or your instinct, but with your understanding of what life means. That's why you're here. That's why you refuse the crown. Goku closed his eyes, and suddenly he understood. Ultra instinct had taught him to move without thinking. But this was something beyond that.
This was existing without needing justification. This was accepting that questions didn't need answers to have value. This was sovereignty over uncertainty itself. When Goku opened his eyes, he had changed. No explosive transformation, no dramatic earth-shattering aura or power-up. Instead, something far more subtle happened. Space itself seemed to recognize him differently. Time bent slightly in his presence, not from force, but from acknowledgement. This was sovereign instinct. Not fueled by anger like his Super Saiyan forms, not fueled by divine calm like Ultra Instinct. This was fueled by acceptance. Acceptance of every life, every death, every question, and every answer. The acceptance that existence didn't need to be justified to have meaning.
When Goku returned to the throne room, even the Grand Priest took an involuntary step back. The null will's presence immediately focused on Goku's changed state. You have found a new form. It changes nothing. You cannot punch absence. You cannot fight the lack of meaning with presence alone. You're right, Goku said calmly. I can't fight you the way I've fought everyone else, but I don't need to. He raised his hand and reality rippled, not from destructive force, but from creative will. Where the null will had removed purpose, Goku began to weave it back. You say existence asks why without end, but you're wrong about something important. The question isn't the problem, giving up on it is. Every time someone asks why, they're creating meaning. Every time they search for purpose, they're building it. The null will press down harder, trying to crush this resistance. I am inevitable. All questions eventually end in nothing. All purpose dissolves into void. Maybe, acknowledged Goku. But then new questions are born, new purpose is created. That's what life is, the constant creation of meaning against the void. You're not the end of everything, you're just part of the cycle. He stepped forward, and with each step, reality stabilized around him. The time glitches stopped, the fractures in space sealed. Not because he was erasing the null will, but because he was redefining its role. The Omni King ruled through erasure. He could destroy anything, but that power isolated him. It made him forget that creation matters more than destruction. But I learned something he couldn't see from his throne. Goku's form began to emanate something that wasn't energy, it was presence, pure, undeniable existence that said, I am, and that is enough. King Goku ruled through preservation, not by forcing meaning onto everything, but by protecting the right to find it. You want to end questions? I'm giving everything the freedom to keep asking them. The null will's presence fluctuated, destabilizing for the first time. You cannot simply redefine me. I'm not redefining you. I'm accepting you. Yeah, everything ends. Yeah, purpose can be lost, but that's exactly why it's so important to create it, protect it, and fight for it every single day. You're not my enemy. You're just a reminder of why any of this matters. The crushing presence began to fade, not because it was destroyed, but because it was being integrated. The null will wasn't evil. It was simply a force that had existed without balance. Now, Goku provided that balance. As the presence dissolved into the natural order of things, reality itself seemed to sigh with relief. When Zeno finally awoke, the first thing he saw was Goku standing beside his throne, unchanged yet completely different. Zeno sat up slowly. You did it. You saved everything. Not alone, Goku replied gently. Everyone who ever questioned their purpose, everyone who ever fought for meaning, they all helped.
I just showed them they weren't alone." The Grand Priest approached, bowing deeply to Goku, something he had never done for anyone except the Omni King. "What you have achieved, it transcends divinity itself. You have become something we have no title for." Zeno stood on his throne, looking smaller and younger than ever. But there was wisdom in his eyes now, earned through humility. "I've been the Omni King for so long that I forgot what it meant. I thought absolute power meant I could fix everything by erasing what was broken. But you showed me some things can't be erased. Some things have to be understood." He stepped down from the throne. The entire cosmos seemed to hold its breath. "I'm not giving up being the Omni King," Zeno said carefully, "but I'm not going to rule alone anymore. Goku, I can't make you the Omni Guardian. You already refused that. But there's something else, something higher." The Grand Priest's eyes widened. "My lord, you don't mean—" "I do," Zeno interrupted. "From this moment forward, Son Goku stands as king above the Omni King, not as a ruler, but as a guardian of balance. Where I bring erasure, he brings understanding. Where I wield absolute power, he wields absolute acceptance." Goku tried to wave it off. "Zeno, I don't need a title." "It's not about what you need," Zeno said with a smile that was finally childlike and genuine again. "It's about what the multiverse needs. Someone who won't rule through fear or power, but through protection and understanding. Someone who stands not because they're strongest, but because they're willing to carry the weight of everyone's questions." The throne room transformed. The single throne split into two, one for the Omni King and one slightly higher, marked not with symbols of power, but with symbols of every universe, every life, every question ever asked. But Goku didn't sit on it. Instead, he looked at all the gathered gods, angels, and divine beings. "If I'm going to do this, it's not going to be from a throne. I'll protect everything by being among it, not above it. I'll train, I'll learn, I'll keep asking questions just like everyone else, because the moment I stop questioning, I become what we just defeated." The Grand Priest nodded slowly. "A king who desires power will destroy worlds. A king who protects life will stand above gods. This is wisdom beyond divinity." Zeno laughed, finally sounding like himself again. "That's so Goku. Okay, you don't have to sit on the throne, but the title stays, and whenever reality needs you, whenever existence itself needs protecting, you'll be there, right?" Goku grinned, that familiar spark returning to his eyes. "You bet, that's what friends do." As the multiverse stabilized completely, as time resumed its normal flow and space healed its wounds, a new truth settled across all of creation. There was an Omni King who could erase anything, and above him stood a guardian who could preserve everything, not through absolute power, but through absolute understanding. King Goku had ascended not by defeating existence, but by accepting it. And in that acceptance, he had become something that no god, no destroyer, no omnipotent being had ever achieved before. Someone worthy of standing where even the Omni King could not.